Welcome back to the Denis Damp Show. Today I want to talk about something that almost every federal employee thinks about at some point. Getting out early. Maybe you're burned out. Maybe you're tired of the politics. Maybe you've simply reached the point where you're asking yourself, how much longer do I really need to do this? I understand that feeling. I retired from federal service at age 55 with 35 years of service, including my active duty military time. And looking back, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. But here's the problem. A lot of people dream about early retirement. Very few people understand the rules, and if you get those rules wrong, you can make a mistake that follows you for the rest of your life. So today I want to walk through the biggest things every federal employee should understand before deciding to retire early. Let's start with what a normal retirement looks like. For most federal employees, a full unreduced retirement means reaching your minimum retirement age, usually around age 57 with 30 years of service, or age 60 with 20 years, or age 62 with at least 5 years. Those are the standard pathways. But what if you don't want to wait? That's where things start getting interesting. One of the best opportunities available is something called VERA, Voluntary Early Retirement Authority. If you've been around government long enough, you've probably heard people talk about it. VERA is basically the government's way of saying, we'd like to reduce staffing and we're willing to let people retire earlier than normal. If offered, VERA allows retirement at age 50 with 20 years of service, or at any age with 25 years of service. And here's why people get excited about it. Your pension isn't reduced because of your age. You can keep your federal health insurance if you meet the requirements, and many employees qualify for the FERS supplement until age 62. Sometimes agencies even add a cash incentive called a VSIP. In other words, the government may literally pay you to leave. For many employees, that's the golden ticket. But not everyone gets offered a VERA, and that's where things can get dangerous. Let's talk about MRA plus 10. This is one of the most misunderstood retirement options in government service. If you've reached your minimum retirement age and have at least 10 years of service, you're eligible to retire. Sounds great, right? Well, there's a catch. Your pension is reduced by 5% for every year you're under age 62. Think about that, 5% every year for life. If you retire at 57, that's a 25% permanent reduction. Not for a few years, forever. I've spoken with people who were shocked when they finally understood the numbers. What looked like freedom suddenly became a very expensive decision. Now, there is another option. It's called a postponed retirement. This strategy allows you to leave federal service at your MRA and delay collecting your pension until later. By waiting, you can eliminate or reduce those age penalties. Sounds good. But there are trade-offs. You won't receive pension payments during those years, and your federal health insurance is suspended until your pension starts. So the question becomes, can you financially bridge that gap? For some people, the answer is yes. For others, not so much. Then we come to what I consider the most dangerous option. Deferred retirement. This is where people get themselves into trouble. A deferred retirement happens when someone leaves federal service before reaching their MRA but has enough service time to qualify for a pension later. The biggest problem? You lose your federal health insurance forever. You don't get it back when your pension starts. And considering how valuable FEHB coverage can be in retirement, that's a huge loss. Your high-3 salary also freezes when you leave. Inflation keeps moving, your salary calculation doesn't. I've seen people underestimate the long-term impact of that decision. Now, before you walk out the door, there are a few critical traps you need to avoid. The first is the 5-year FEHB Rule. To carry your federal health insurance into retirement, you generally need to be continuously enrolled in FEHB for the 5 years immediately before retirement. Miss that requirement, and you may lose one of the most valuable benefits in the entire federal system. The second trap involves your TSP. Many employees don't realize that withdrawing money too early can trigger penalties. However, there is an important exception. If you separate from service during or after the year you turn 55, you can access your TSP without the normal 10% early withdrawal penalty. That exception alone can save people thousands of dollars. And finally, let's talk about cash reserves. This one isn't exciting, but it may be the most important. Retirement paperwork takes time, sometimes a